single mother fed her children on the street in the rain and cold. A millionaire stopped his car when he saw the moving scene. He handed her a mysterious letter without saying a word. Upon opening and reading, she broke down in tears in front of her children. If this story interests you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and tell us from which city you are watching us. We continue. The icy wind cut through the night as Amélie Costa held the two small sleeping bodies to her chest. Miguel and Gabriel, her 3-year-old twin nephews, slept restlessly under the awning of the closed bakery. The city lights blinked indifferently to their reality, like stars too distant to warm their soul. Anna arranged the only blanket they had, trying to protect the children from the bitter cold. Her fingers trembled, not only from the weather, but from the weight of the decisions that life had forced her to make. At 27 years old, her existence had become a constant struggle for survival, a daily challenge to maintain dignity and hope. The aroma of fresh bread that still hung in the air made her stomach growl. She divided the last piece of French bread between the boys, keeping only the crumbs for herself. She looked at their angelic little faces, so similar to Helena's, her sister. Tears threatened to fall, but she held them back. She couldn't afford to weaken. During the day, he did odd jobs, cleaning, making deliveries, anything that could earn him a few bucks to feed the children. At night, he wandered the city looking for a safe place to sleep. He was too proud to ask for help from the few acquaintances he still had from his time at college studying psychology, a course he had dropped out of in his final year. Amélie Costa's thoughts were interrupted by approaching footsteps. Instinctively, she hugged the boys tighter, her eyes searching the figure emerging from the shadows. A tall, well-dressed man was walking toward her. Her years on the streets had taught her to be wary of anyone approaching. "Good evening," the man said, his deep voice filled with a kindness Anna wasn't used to hearing. "I noticed you've been here for a few hours. I brought some sandwiches if you'd like some." Anna hesitated, studying every detail of this stranger. His elegant attire contrasted with the simplicity of his gesture. There was something in his eyes, a mixture of genuine concern and recognition, that intrigued her. "Why are you doing this?" he asked, his voice harsher than he intended, the result of countless disappointments and judgments he had faced. "Because sometimes we need to be the kind of person we'd like to meet in our darkest moments," he replied, placing the paper bag on the floor next to her. "My name is Hugo Albori. I'm the director of a chain of clinics here in the city." Anna felt Miguel stir in her arms, his sleepy little eyes slowly opening. The boy looked curiously at the bag, and her stomach growled audibly. The sound broke something inside her pride perhaps, or the wall she had built around her heart. "Amélie Costa," he finally introduced himself, his voice softening. "And this is Miguel and Gabriel." Hugo smiled, a smile that seemed to carry more than just sympathy. There was something in his gaze, as if he were looking at a puzzle whose pieces were beginning to fit together. "Amélie Costa Müller?" he asked, his voice carrying a note of surprise and recognition. Her heart raced. How did this stranger know her last name? Suspicion returned with full force, but before she could question it, Hugo continued. "You studied psychology at university, didn't you? Your CV has been in my drawer for months, that sentence you wrote at the end, about helping families not to collapse after difficult times. I've never forgotten it." Amélie Costa felt the world spin around her. Of all people, how could she be facing the man whose resume had been forgotten in a drawer? Fate, sometimes, had a peculiar sense of humor, she thought, as she watched Gabriel wake up too, his little eyes fixed on the bag of sandwiches. The office was spacious and welcoming, quite different from what Amélie Costa had imagined. Sitting in a comfortable armchair, she held an envelope in her trembling hands, while the twins played quietly with some toys in the corner of the room, supervised by a friendly assistant. After that unusual encounter the night before, Hugo had insisted on setting up a formal meeting. Anna had resisted at first, but something in the way he spoke, the way his eyes showed a deep understanding of her situation, convinced her to accept. "What you have in your hands," Hugo began, sitting down across from him, "is not just a job. Offer. It's an opportunity for a fresh start." Anna opened the envelope carefully as if she feared its contents might fall apart at the slightest touch. Her eyes scanned the pages, widening with each line she read. A position as a coordinator's, assistant in a new social project, temporary, housing, a steady salary, daycare for the boys, and, what made her heart skip a beat, funding to resume their studies. Why? Was all he could ask, his voice choked with pent-up emotion. Hugo stood up, walking to the window that offered a panoramic view of the city. Because I believe in second chances, and because I recognize in you something that goes beyond the current circumstances. Anna looked at her nephews, who were now giggling softly as they put together a puzzle. They were so young, so innocent. They deserved more than cold canopies and broken bread. "What if I can't?" she whispered, more to herself than to him. "You're already doing it," Hugo replied, turning to her. "You're keeping these children together, protected, loved. What we're offering is just the structure to continue doing that, but with dignity." Anna closed her eyes, letting the tears finally fall. 6 months on the streets had hardened her heart, but not enough to ignore the magnitude of this moment. "I need time," he said finally, wiping his face. "I need to think. Consult someone." "Of course," Hugo nodded understandingly. "Take all the time you need, but at least accept our immediate assistance. We have temporary housing where you can stay while you decide." It was at that moment that Miguel approached, holding a drawing he had just made. It was a colored scribble, but Anna could make out 3 figures holding hands. "That's us, Auntie," he explained, pointing to the paper, "and this is our new house." Amélie Costa's heart sank. How could a 3-year-old understand so much? How could she dream so big even after everything they had been through? "Lisa," Hugo called to his assistant, "could you take the boys to see the recreation room?" After the children left, accompanied by the employee, Hugo sat down again, his gaze more serious. "Anna, there's something I need to tell you," he began hesitantly. "Something about your sister." The world seemed to freeze around Amélie Costa. Helena was a subject she avoided, a wound still too fresh to be touched. How do you know about my sister?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "Because she changed my life," Hugo replied, his eyes brimming with tears. "Helena was my therapist a few years ago when I was going through the hardest time of my life. She helped me keep going, to not give up." Anna felt as if the air had been knocked out of her lungs. Of all the possible coincidences, this one seemed too surreal to be true. Helena had never mentioned Hugo, but she had always been very discreet about her patients. Martina opened the door to her apartment and hugged Amélie Costa tightly. The two friends had not seen each other for months, ever since Anna had disappeared without a trace. The twins, shy as always, hid behind their aunt. "You disappeared, you crazy woman," Martina exclaimed, pulling her friend inside. "I looked everywhere for you. Why didn't you look for me before?" Amélie Costa felt the weight of guilt on her shoulders. Martina had been her best friend since childhood, sharing dreams and secrets. Over the years, but after the accident she had chosen to isolate herself, to carry her burden alone. "I'm sorry, Marie," Anna whispered, as the boys timidly explored the cozy room. "I didn't mean to be a burden to anyone." Martina shook her head, her eyes revealing a mixture of concern and relief. "You would never be a burden. We're family, remember?" Sitting at the kitchen table, with the twins playing with some old toys that Martina had kept, Anna recounted the events of the last few days. The night on the veranda, the meeting with Hugo, the unexpected proposal, and the revelation about Helena. "That's quite a coincidence," Martina said, pouring her friend a cup of hot chocolate. "But maybe that's exactly what you need. Right now, a real chance to start over." Anna watched Miguel and Gabriel playing. It was the first time in months that she had seen them so relaxed, so childlike. "I'm scared, Mari. What if it's all propaganda? What if they want to use our story for marketing? What if it's genuine?" Martina countered. "Anna, you've always been the strongest person I know. After Helena left, you took on a huge responsibility without thinking twice. Now it's time to accept help." At that moment, Gabriel approached with a drawing in his hand. It was different from his usual ones, a sad face surrounded by dark shadows. Anna felt her heart tighten when she saw the tears in her nephew's eyes. "What is it, my love?" he asked softly, pulling him into his lap. "I was dreaming about her again," the boy murmured, hiding his face in his aunt's neck. "Mummy was sad in my dream." Anna exchanged a worried look with Martina. It was the first time Gabriel had spoken about Helena since the accident. Miguel, who had been watching the scene, also approached, his eyes reflecting the same silent pain as his brother. You know what Mum would want now?" Martina intervened, her voice soft. "She would want to see the three of you happy in a warm house with lots of colourful drawings on the walls." Amelie Costa felt something shift inside her. The boys' drawings, always so expressive, were perhaps a silent cry for help. They needed stability, a place to process their emotions, professionals who could help them deal with their unspoken traumas. "Mari," Anna said, her voice taking on a new determination, "do you still have that old notebook? I need to write an email." The psychosocial support center was larger than Amelie Costa had imagined. The building, although not luxurious, had a welcoming feel, with soft-toned walls and a decor that combined professionalism with warmth. It was her first official day as assistant coordinator, and her heart was beating fast. "This will be your space," explained Sandra, the general coordinator, showing a modest but well-organized room. "You will help monitor cases, organize the appointment schedule, and participate in team meetings." Anna nodded, taking in every detail. Through the window, she could see the playground of the daycare where Miguel and Gabriel would spend their mornings. The idea of being separated from them, even for a few hours, still scared her, but she knew it was necessary. "Are the boys settled in yet?" Sandra asked, her motherly tone revealing genuine concern. "It's all still very new," Anna replied, straightening some papers on the table. "But Professor Julia has been amazing with them. This morning when I dropped them off, they even smiled." Sandra smiled, understanding. "You know, Anna, it's not just Dr. Hugo who knows your story. Everyone here was hand-picked for this project. Each professional has their own experience with overcoming and starting over." Before Anna could respond, a soft knock on the door interrupted their conversation. It was Hugo, his presence causing a small jolt in her heart, something she had been trying to ignore for the past few weeks. "How are you feeling?" he asked, approaching with that gentle smile that was starting to become familiar. "Anxious," Anna admitted, "but ready." "Great," Hugo replied, placing a folder on his desk, "because we have our first family arriving in an hour. I thought you might want to follow up on this particular case." Anna opened the folder and her heart leapt. It was the story of a young mother, not unlike herself, struggling to raise 2 children alone after a series of setbacks in life. "Why this case?" he asked, although he already suspected the answer. "Because you will understand this mother like no one else could," Hugo replied. "Sometimes the best way to heal our own wounds is by helping others heal theirs." At that moment, a murmur coming from the hallway caught his attention. It was Julia, the nursery teacher, bringing Miguel and Gabriel, both holding new drawings. "Sorry to interrupt," Julia said, "but they insisted on showing something to Aunt." The boys ran to Anna, their little faces animated, an expression she hadn't seen in so long she'd almost forgotten what it looked like. Miguel held out his drawing first, a colourful house with a garden full of flowers and 3 smiling people. "That's Uncle Hugo with us," he explained, pointing to the tallest figure in the drawing. Anna felt the air leave her lungs, while Hugo approached to see the drawing, visibly moved. Gabriel, more shy, showed his next. It was the centre, with several people holding hands. "It's our new family," he said softly, surprising everyone with his words. Sandra and Julia exchanged emotional glances, while Hugo bent down to be at the boys' level. "Can I keep these drawings here in my office?" he asked kindly. "Only if you promise to be our real uncle," Miguel replied with the unique sincerity of children. Amelie Costa felt tears escape, but this time they were different. For the first time in a long time, they were tears of hope. Days at the center turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Amelie Costa watched her own transformation unfold through the reflection of the lives she touched. Each story that reached her carried a piece of her own journey, as if the universe conspired to show her that no one is truly alone in their pain. That particular morning, while organizing the service reports, Anna was surprised by Carmen, one of the mothers assisted by the project. Her eyes shone with a mixture of gratitude and determination. "I brought you something," Carmen said, holding out an envelope. "It's my college application. I got a scholarship, like you encouraged me to." Anna smiled, remembering the long conversations with Carmen, the night she had helped her study for the college entrance exam, while her children played with the twins in the recreation room. "You did it because you believed in yourself, Carmen." "No, Anna, I did it because you showed me that starting over is possible," Carmen replied, her eyes brimming with tears. "You have no idea how much your story inspires us." Those words hit Anna like a bolt of lightning. Her story, what do you mean? As far as she knew, only the staff at the center knew her past. At that moment, Hugo appeared at the door, his expression more serious than usual. "Anna, we need to talk." In his office, Anna found a local magazine open on his desk. Her heart sank when she saw the headline, "From Homeless to Coordinator, the story behind the new psychosocial support center." "I didn't give any interviews," she muttered, her hands shaking as she flipped through the pages. "How did they—" "Someone leaked your story," Hugo explained, his voice tense. "They're questioning the legitimacy of the project, insinuating that we're using you as social marketing propaganda." Anna felt the world spin. There was her life exposed, her pain transformed into a spectacle. Old photos of her with the twins under the marquee, excerpts from her resume, speculation about her relationship with Hugo. "The counselors are worried," he continued, running a hand through his hair in a gesture of concern. "They want a special meeting tomorrow." "Are you going to fire me?" Anna asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not on my watch," Hugo replied firmly, "but they are requiring your degree to keep your current position." Anna closed her eyes, feeling the weight of that demand. There were only a few months left to complete the course, but between work, the boys, and now this scandal. "There's one more thing," Hugo said hesitantly. "To protect you and the project, it might be best if we stay apart for a while." Anna's heart skipped a beat. In the last few months, Hugo had become more than a mentor. He was a safe haven, someone the twins adored, someone "The boys will miss you," was all he could say, swallowing the lump in his throat. "And I theirs," he replied, his gaze betraying deeper emotions he dared not express. "And yours too." A heavy silence fell over the room, laden with unspoken words and pent-up feelings. Through the window, Anna could see the playground where Miguel and Gabrielle were playing, oblivious to the gathering storm. "I won't let them destroy everything we've built," she said finally, determination creeping into her voice. "These families need us. The boys need this place. I need from me." Hugo finished softly, his gaze meeting hers. Anna felt a blush rise to her face, but before she could respond, Sandra burst through the door, panting. "You have to see this," she said, turning on the office television. "It's on every channel. The local news broadcast footage of the center, interspersed with old photos of Amelie Costa and the twins." The reporter, in her rehearsed dramatic voice, speculated about the project and its true intentions. But what really caught everyone's attention were the people crowding in front of the center. They were the families supported by the project, dozens of mothers, fathers, and children holding handmade signs with messages of support. "Amelie Costa has given us back hope," said one of them. "Our children have a future thanks to the center," declared another. "That's," Anna began, at a loss for words to express the emotion she felt. "It's the truth coming out," Sandra added, smiling. They came spontaneously when they heard about the magazine article. Hugo watched the scene in silence, his eyes shining with pride. Anna noticed that he was clutching something in his hand, a yellowed envelope that looked old. "What is this?" she asked curiously. "Something your sister gave me years ago," he replied, holding out the envelope. "I think now is the right time for you to read it." With trembling hands, Anna opened the envelope. It was a letter from Helena, written in her elegant, familiar handwriting. "Dear Dr. Hugo, today is our last session, and I want you to know how proud I am of your journey. You have transformed your pain into purpose, and that is the greatest proof of healing there is. I have one last request. Keep the support center project close to your heart. One day, when it is ready, it will be more than a dream. It will be a place of new beginnings. With love, Helena Müller. Anna felt the tears run freely down her face. She knew. She always knew. The center had always been her dream, Hugo explained softly. When I met her that night under the marquee, I recognized not only her name but the same sparkle in her eyes that Helena had when she talked about helping people. At that moment, the office door opened again. It was Julia, accompanied by the twins. Miguel was carrying a new drawing, different from all the previous ones. They did this in class today, Julia said excitedly, when I asked them to draw their family. The drawing showed a large group of people, Amélie Costa, the twins, Hugo, and dozens of other colorful figures around. At the top, in childish letters, was written, "Our family from the center." It's not just our story that matters, Anna said, looking out the window at the crowd that continued to grow outside. It's the story we're helping other families write. Hugo approached, gently placing his hand on her shoulder. And what story do you want to write now, Amélie Costa? She looked at the twins, at the drawing in her hands, at the people outside, and finally at Hugo. In her heart, the answer had always been clear. The story my sister started, she replied, her voice firm. And this time, I won't shy away from the media. I'll use this exposure to show that the center is more than a charity project. It's a place of real transformation. Gabriel came closer, hugging her leg. Auntie, are you going to tell our story on television? I will, my love, she replied, stroking his hair. I'll tell you how we found our family. Not just the three of us, but all these people out there, too. Sandra smiled, wiping away a tear. I think Helena would be proud. No, Hugo corrected, his gaze meeting Anna's. She's proud. In every life we change, in every family we help, she lives on. The television studio was a whirlwind of activity. Lights, cameras, people running around with headsets and clipboards. Amélie Costa took a deep breath, adjusting the blazer Martina had lent her. In minutes, she would be live on the city's most watched morning show. You look beautiful, Martina said, putting the finishing touches on her friend's makeup. And most importantly, you're ready. Anna smiled nervously, her fingers playing with the necklace Helena had given her years ago, a small heart-shaped pendant that she now carried as a charm. Are the boys okay? He asked for the 10th time. They're doing great, Martina assured her. Hugo took them to have a special breakfast with the staff at the center. They won't even notice he's gone. The mention of Hugo's name made her heart race. Ever since Helena's letter had been revealed, something had changed between them. It was as if a final barrier had been broken, though they both still maintained a respectful professional distance. 2 minutes, a producer announced, making Anna jump. Remember what we agreed on? Martina asked, holding her hands. Be yourself. Tell your truth. Anna nodded, remembering the preparation meeting the day before. The entire center staff had gathered to help her organize her thoughts. Sandra had been especially helpful with her expertise in communications. 30 seconds. The studio lights grew brighter. The presenter, Beatrice Salin, famous for her empathy and depth in interviews, approached with a welcoming smile. Relax, she whispered to Anna. Let's just talk. The red light on the camera came on, and Beatrice began, Good morning, viewers. Today we have a special story to share. A story of love, overcoming, and purpose. Amélie Costa Müller shows us how the greatest transformations can arise from the most challenging moments. Anna took a deep breath, feeling a surprising calm take over her. There, under the studio lights, she realized she was not alone. She carried with her the stories of all the families at the center, the love of her nephews, the memory of Helena, and the silent but constant support of Hugo. Anna, tell us how it all began, Beatrice asked softly. It started with love, Anna replied, her voice firm. The love of a sister who taught me that helping people isn't just a profession, it's a life purpose. The love of two little angels who gave me strength when I thought I had none. And the love of strangers who became family when we needed it most. The words flowed naturally now, like a river finally finding its course. Anna shared her journey, not as a story of sadness but as a testimony of hope. The center is not just a place, she explained, her eyes shining. It is a movement of transformation. Each family that comes to us carries its own challenges, its own pain, but it also carries an immense potential for a new beginning. Beatrice, visibly moved, showed some images of the work carried out. At the center, children smiling during art therapy sessions, mothers returning to school, fathers learning new professions. "What about your nephews?" the presenter asked. "How are they dealing with all these changes?" Anna smiled, thinking of the colorful drawings that now decorated the walls of her new apartment. They are blossoming. Through art, therapy, the love of the entire staff, they are learning to express their feelings, to dream again. "What about the rumors about your relationship with Dr. Hugo Albori?" Beatrice asked delicately. Anna felt a blush rise to her cheeks, but she kept her composure. Dr. Hugo is one of the greatest examples of how we can transform our own pain into helping others. He not only gave me an opportunity, but he believed in my sister's dream when I didn't even know it existed. The impact of the interview was immediate. In the weeks that followed, the center received a flood of calls, companies offering partnerships, volunteers wanting to help, families seeking support. Amélie Costa's story had touched hearts and opened doors that no one had imagined possible. In her new office, now decorated with drawings of the twins and photos of the families she helped, Anna organized the paperwork for her enrollment to return to college. The board of directors had not only approved her continued position, but also created a scholarship program for other mothers assisted by the project. Knock, knock, a familiar voice interrupted his concentration. It was Sandra, carrying a mysterious box. "We found these in the archives," she explained, placing the box on the table. "They're old documents from when your sister worked here." Anna opened the box with reverential care. Among the folders and yellowed papers, she found a notebook in Helena's handwriting. It was a professional diary, where she wrote down her ideas and dreams for the future of the center. "She had it all planned out," Anna murmured, leafing through the pages with tears in her eyes. "Every detail, every plan. And you're making it all happen," Sandra added, smiling, "in your own unique way but keeping the essence of what she dreamed of." At that moment, sounds of children's laughter echoed through the hallway. Miguel and Gabriel ran in, followed by Hugo, who was carrying more drawings. "Aunt Anna!" Miguel exclaimed excitedly. "Teacher Julia said our drawings are going to an exhibition." "An exhibition?" Anna asked, surprised. Hugo smiled, coming closer. "The center was invited to participate in a national art therapy project. The boys' drawings were selected as an example of emotional development through art." Anna examined the new drawings. They were different from the first ones, more colorful, more cheerful, depicting happy moments at the center, in the park, at the home. In one of them, particularly special, the twins had drawn the entire center team gathered in a big hug. "Look, Auntie," Gabriel pointed to a figure in the drawing. "That's Mommy in heaven watching over us." The silence that followed was filled with emotion. Sandra discreetly withdrew, leaving the family to their intimate moment. "You know," Hugo said, his voice soft, "there's something I've been wanting to show you for some time." He took a folded piece of paper out of his pocket. It was Amélie Costa's original resume, the one he had kept in his drawer for so long. At the bottom of the page, the sentence that had caught his attention stood out. "My goal is to help families maintain their dignity and hope, even in the most difficult times, because I know that love can rebuild what life tries to destroy." "You've accomplished so much more than you've written here," he said, his eyes meeting hers with a new intensity. "You haven't just helped families, you've created one." Anna felt her heart race. There in that moment, With the twins playing happily and Hugo so close by, she realized that her family had become something bigger and more special than she had ever imagined possible. "Uncle Hugo," Miguel called suddenly, "are you really going to take us to the football game on Sunday?" "Of course I will," he replied, smiling. "If your aunt allows it, of course." Anna watched the scene, feeling a wave of happiness pass through her chest. The center had become more than a place of work. It was a home, a refuge, a new beginning. And perhaps, she thought as she watched Hugo play with the boys, it was also the place where her heart would finally find peace. The university amphitheater was packed. Amélie Costa adjusted the strap of her bag, feeling the familiar weight of books and notebooks. Returning to college after so long was like diving into a long-forgotten dream, scary and exciting at the same time. "Nervous?" asked Martina, who had insisted on accompanying her on the first day. "A little," Anna admitted, watching the other students, all younger, enter the room. "I feel so out of place." "Mrs. Muller?" A voice caught her attention. It was Professor Martins, coordinator of the psychology course. "Could you come with me for a moment?" In the hallway, the teacher smiled warmly. "I wanted to welcome you personally. Your story has inspired many people here at the college." Anna blushed slightly. "Teacher, You don't have to say anything," Martins interrupted gently. "I just want you to know that we've set up a special study group for students like you who are returning after long periods of absence. You'll be able to support each other." Returning to the classroom, Anna found her place between two women who appeared to be her age. One of them, Rafaela, was also a single mother, trying to balance work and studies. The other, Patricia, had dropped out of college years ago to take care of her sick mother. "How do you manage?" Rafaela asked during the break. "Work, study, and raise two children." Anna smiled, thinking of the twins who were with Hugo at a special storytelling session at the ID Center. "I have an incredible support network. I've learned that accepting help doesn't make us weaker, it makes us stronger." The developmental psychology class brought tears to her eyes. The professor discussed the impact of early childhood, trauma and ways to heal through affection and art. Anna thought about the boys' drawings, how they had evolved from their early dark scribbles to their current explosions of color. During the practical exercise, her experience at the center proved invaluable. While other students theorized about hypothetical cases, she was able to share real observations, enriching the discussion with practical examples. "Your contribution was exceptional," the professor praised at the end of the class. "We need more professionals who understand theory and practice." Leaving college, Anna found a surprise. Hugo was waiting in the parking lot with the twins sleeping in the back seat of the car. "How was it?" he asked, his eyes shining with genuine interest. "Intense," she replied, letting herself be hugged. "But necessary." "Auntie!" Miguel woke up with a start. "Tell him what we did today." "What did you guys do?" Anna asked, getting into the car. Gabriel, also waking up, showed a handmade book. "We made a story. Uncle Hugo helped write it, but the drawings are ours." Anna leafed through the little book carefully. It was a story about a family who lived in a big, colorful castle, the center, and helped other families find their own magic. "They're so talented," Hugo commented, driving toward Anna's apartment. "Teacher Julia said she's never seen children process emotions through art so deeply." "Just like Helena," Anna murmured, remembering how her sister always expressed herself, best through drawings and colors. She saw the world that way too, full of healing possibilities through art. At the traffic light, Hugo turned to her. "Speaking of Helena, I found some more of her notes on art therapy. I thought we could develop a specific program at the center, integrating her ideas with the new techniques you're learning in college." Anna felt her heart race. It was like that with Hugo. Every conversation, every project, every shared moment brought their worlds closer together, intertwined their destinies more. "Uncle," Miguel called from the back seat, "are you going to sleep over tonight? Auntie makes that special hot chocolate." The innocent request made the adults blush. Their relationship, not yet officially defined, was increasingly noticed and naturalized by the boys. "Not today, champ," Hugo replied softly. But how about tomorrow I take you to pick out the materials for the center's new studio? The children's eyes lit up at the proposal, while Anna watched the scene with a full heart. There, in that car, with the people she loved most, she realized that she was experiencing much more than a new beginning. She was experiencing a complete rebirth. The center's studio was an organized chaos of colors and creativity. Brushes, paints, papers, and various materials occupied the newly installed shelves, while children of various ages explored the space with amazed eyes. It was the day of the official opening of the Helena Muller Art Therapy Space. Amélie Costa watched everything with a mixture of pride and emotion. The project, born from Helena's notes and developed with the new techniques she had learned in college, had become something bigger than she had imagined. The walls, previously white and austere, now displayed a collaborative mural where each family served by the center had left their mark. It's exactly as she described, Hugo said, approaching with a cup of coffee for her. In her notes, Helena talked about a space where art would not only be therapy, but a way for family to reconnect. Anna smiled, watching Miguel and Gabriel helping younger children with their drawings. The twins had become sort of little ambassadors for the project, sharing their own healing journey through art. "Do you know what moves me the most?" she commented, pointing to a specific corner of the mural. There, where each family wrote their story in colors, it's as if each brushstroke tells a chapter of overcoming. At that moment, Sandra hurried into the studio. "Anna, there's a surprise for you at reception." Curious, Anna followed the coordinator, finding an elegant lady who she immediately recognized. It was her old art teacher from school, the one who had first noticed Helena's talent. "Mrs. Regina!" exclaimed Anna, excited. "How—" "I saw the news report about the center," the teacher explained, her eyes shining. "And when I heard it was you, the little sister of my most talented student, well, I had to see it for myself." Regina walked around the studio, observing every detail with an experienced eye. She stopped in front of a series of drawings by the twins displayed on a special panel. "The same line," she murmured in awe, "the same sensitivity to color that Helena had. It's as if she's still here through them." Anna felt tears escape. "You have no idea how much this means." "Actually, I can imagine," Regina replied, taking something out of her bag. "I've kept this for all these years. I think now is the right time to give it back." It was Helena's sketchbook from her school days. In the pages, yellowed by time, Anna recognized the first sketches of what would become the center, a colorful and welcoming place, full of smiling families. "She always knew," Regina said softly. Even at a young age, Helena understood the transformative power of art. Hugo, who had been watching the scene in silence, approached with the twins. The children, curious, leafed through the notebook with reverence, as if they felt a special connection with those old drawings. "Look, Auntie," Gabriel exclaimed, pointing to a specific sketch. "It looks like our mural." It was true. Helena's drawing, made so many years ago, showed a mural very similar to the one that now decorated the studio. Life's coincidences were sometimes too surprising to be mere chance. "Uncle Hugo," Miguel called, tugging on the sleeve of his jacket, "can we make a special drawing for Mom to see from heaven?" The innocent request touched the hearts of everyone present. Regina moved, offered to help the children with special painting techniques. As she watched the boys painting with Helena's old teacher, Anna felt Hugo discreetly hold her hand. It was a simple gesture, but loaded with meaning, like all the moments they had shared in the last few months. "You've built something extraordinary here," he whispered. "We built it," she corrected, squeezing his hand back. "All of us. Helena started the dream, but we're the ones bringing it to life every day with every family we help." The sound of children's laughter filled the room, mingling with the smell of fresh paint and coffee. There, in that space of color and healing, Amélie Costa finally understood. Her story with Helena had never really ended. It was just transforming into something new and equally beautiful. The presentation of her final project of the semester made Amélie Costa nervous. Not because of the content. Her research on the impact of art therapy on emotionally vulnerable children was solid, based on months of practical observation at the center. What worried her was the special presence in the audience. Hugo had made a point of being present, bringing with him not only the twins, but also a team of researchers interested in replicating the program in other units of the clinic network. Professor Martens smiled encouragingly as Anna took the stage in the auditorium. "Art has always been a universal language," she began, projecting the first few slides. "But for children facing emotional trauma, it becomes something even more powerful. It becomes a voice." The following images showed the evolution of the drawings of several children cared for by the center, with special emphasis on an anonymous case that everyone there recognized as being the twins. The progression was remarkable, from the first dark and confused lines to the explosions of color and joy of the most recent works. "What we've discovered," Anna continued, her confidence growing, "is that when we give kids a safe space to express themselves through art, we're not just providing therapy, we're giving them back the power to tell their own stories." From the back of the auditorium, Miguel and Gabriel watched proudly, holding their drawing folders. Beside them, Hugo couldn't hide the sparkle in his eyes. But the most surprising thing, Anna designed a new chart, was the impact on families as a whole. When we implemented joint art therapy sessions, where parents and children co-create, we saw significant improvements in family communication and joint trauma processing. The presentation continued, blending scientific data with real stories of transformation. Anna talked about how the program had evolved, incorporating elements from Helena's notes with new techniques learned in college. At the end, during the question session, one of the visiting researchers raised his hand. "Miss Muller, your research is impressive, but how do you maintain scientific objectivity while being so personally involved in the project?" Anna smiled, thinking about how to respond. That was when she noticed Miguel whispering something in Hugo's ear, who nodded and raised his hand. "If I may," he said, standing, "I would like to share something. As the network's chief medical officer, I initially had the same concerns, but what Amélie Costa has shown us is that personal engagement, when balanced with scientific rigor, is not a weakness. It is a strength." Professor Martens intervened. "Exactly. Modern psychology increasingly recognizes the value of lived experience in therapeutic practice." After the presentation, while researchers talked excitedly about implementing the program in other units, Anna found a quiet moment with her makeshift family. "Auntie," Gabriel said, holding out a new drawing. "I did this while you were speaking." The drawing showed Anna on stage, surrounded by vibrant colors that seemed to emanate from her like rays of sunlight. Around her, small figures, representing other families, held paintbrushes as if they were magic wands. "He captured it perfectly," Hugo commented, his hand discreetly finding Anna's. "You really shine when you talk about the project." "Uncle," Miguel intervened with that sincerity unique to children, "why don't you give Aunt Anna her special gift right away?" Anna turned around curiously, while Hugo blushed visibly. "Miguel, it was a surprise, remember?" "But she did so well in the presentation," the boy argued. "And you said you were waiting for the right moment." Gabriel also got excited. "Is that pretty box you kept in the office, with the golden bow?" Anna couldn't help but smile at Hugo's embarrassment and the boy's excitement. In recent months, their relationship had naturally deepened, but they both maintained a certain reserve, respecting each other's time. "Well," Hugo said finally, "I think the boys just anticipated something I was planning for later. How about we all have dinner together tonight? I have something special to share with you, Amélie Costa." Her heart raced at the prospect. There was something in his gaze, a mix of nervousness and determination, that made her suspect that tonight could change everything. The restaurant Hugo had chosen was elegant without being intimidating, with small tables set out in a garden, lit by delicate lanterns. The twins, dressed in their best clothes, behaved with an almost comical seriousness, as if they understood the importance of the moment. "Can I sit next to Uncle?" Miguel asked, as the maitre d' guided them to a table specially decorated with flowers. "No, I want to," Gabriel protested, causing the adults to laugh. "How about one on each side?" Hugo suggested diplomatically, winking at Anna. As the children were distracted by the illustrated children's menu, Anna noticed that Hugo seemed especially nervous, his hands drumming softly on the table. "Is everything okay?" she asked softly. "Never." "Better," he replied, his smile revealing a mixture of anxiety and happiness. "Just waiting for the right moment." Dinner was pleasant, with the boys telling stories about school and the center, Hugo and Anna exchanging meaningful glances over for their glasses of juice since she didn't drink wine. When dessert arrived, an elaborate chocolate construction that made the children's eyes light up, Hugo finally cleared his throat. "Amélie Costa," he began, his voice shaking slightly. "In the past few months, you have transformed not only the center, but the lives of everyone who has the privilege of being around you." The twins stopped eating, watching the scene with interest. Anna felt her heart race. "When Helena helped me years ago," he continued, "she told me something I've never forgotten. Sometimes we have to lose ourselves completely to find our true path. At the time, I didn't fully understand. But now," Hugo gave a discreet signal to the waiter, who brought an elegant box with a golden bow, the same one the boys had mentioned earlier. "Auntie, open it," Gabriel exclaimed, almost jumping out of his chair. With trembling hands, Anna undid the ribbon. Inside the box, she found a handmade photo album clearly made with love. On the cover, a single sentence: "Our story in colors." Leafing through the pages, Anna found moments from the last few months captured in photographs. The first days at the center, the boys playing on the playground, art therapy sessions, moments of studying at college, picnics in the park, shared laughter. Amongst the photos, drawings by the twins told their own version of the story. "Turn it all the way to the end, Auntie," insisted Miguel, barely containing his excitement. On the last page, a golden envelope waited. Inside, Anna found not one, but two documents. The first was an official plan to expand the center, transforming it into a leading institute for family art therapy. The second, "It's a request for joint custody," Hugo explained softly. "If you accept, of course. The boys already consider me part of the family, and I can't imagine my life without the three of you in it anymore." Annie felt the tears run freely down her face. The twins, understanding the moment in their own way, ran to hug her. "Does this mean that Uncle Hugo will live with us?" Gabriel asked hopefully. "It means we're going to be a real family," Miguel replied, with the absolute certainty of children. Hugo knelt beside Anna's chair, pulling a small velvet box from his pocket. "They're right. I want to form a family with you, Amélie Costa. A family based not just on roles, but on love, respect, and mutual admiration." The ring was delicate, with small colored stones forming. Her mosaic, reminiscent of the works of art that had so much meaning in their lives. "So what do you say?" he asked, his voice thick with emotion. "Will you color the rest of our lives together?" Anna looked at her nephew's anxious little faces, at the album that told of her journey of reconstruction, at the man kneeling in front of her, who had helped transform her most difficult moment into a precious new beginning. In the center of the garden, the colorful lanterns swayed gently in the night breeze, like earthly stars celebrating this moment. The morning sun streamed through the windows of the new apartment, illuminating unopened boxes and walls awaiting decoration. Amélie Costa watched the twins sleeping on the makeshift mattress in the living room, their serene little faces revealing the peace they had finally found. The ring on her finger glowed softly, reflecting the colors of the stained glass Hugo had installed in the living room window, his first contribution to the new home they were beginning to build together. The night before, after the proposal at the restaurant, she had said yes, not just to a wedding, but to a new chapter in their lives. The sound of keys in the door announced Hugo's arrival, carrying breakfast bags and a few more moving boxes. "Brought something special," he whispered, trying not to wake the children. "I found this in my old office." It was an old folder, full of newspaper clippings and photos. On the front page, a yellowed article showed Helena, young and smiling, opening her first practice. "She really was amazing, wasn't she?" Anna commented, gently running her fingers over her sister's photo. "And it continues to be," Hugo replied, hugging her from behind. "Through you, through the boys, through every life we transform at the center." A noise coming from the mattress caught his attention. Miguel had woken up and was watching the adults with sleepy eyes. "Uncle? You mean Dad?" He tested the new word, making Hugo's heart skip a beat. "Can we hang up our drawings today?" "Sure, champ," Hugo replied, his voice choked with emotion. "As soon as your brother wakes up, we'll decorate your room together." Anna watched the interaction with her heart overflowing. The naturalness with which the boys had accepted the change in their lives was surprising. Since the proposal, 2 weeks ago, they had started calling Hugo Dad spontaneously, as if they were just verbalizing something they had felt for a long time. Anna's cell phone vibrated. It was a message from Sandra. "Extraordinary board meeting this afternoon. Big news." "Something important?" Hugo asked, noticing her curious expression. "Sandra scheduled a last-minute meeting," she replied. "She said she has news. Gabriel chose that moment to wake up, stretching like a kitten. Mom, is today the day to paint the center?" Anna froze for a moment. It was the first time one of the boys had called her Mom. Her eyes met Hugo's, equally moved. "Yes, my love," she finally replied, her voice trembling slightly. "Today we will give new colors to the center." The morning passed at a lazy, happy pace. As they set up their new apartment, each member of the family found their own space. The boys decorated their room with drawings and photos, creating a mural that told their story in vibrant colors. Hugo, between one cash register and another, received calls about the expansion project of the center. Anna watched him talk on the phone, gesturing excitedly as he discussed details of new units that would be opened in other neighborhoods. "Do you know what this means?" he asked after hanging up. "More families will have access to the art therapy program. Helena's dream will reach even more people." Anna smiled, remembering how it all began. A cold night under a marquee, a meeting that seemed like fate, an opportunity that had transformed not only her life, but the lives of so many others. "Mom," Miguel called from the kitchen, "can we make those colorful cookies to take to the center today?" There it was again, Mom, making her heart do somersaults. Anna walked into the kitchen, finding the twins already with their aprons on, ready for another culinary adventure. "Let's make the cookies," she agreed. "But first I want to tell you something important." The boys looked at her attentively, while Hugo came closer to listen as well. "You know that Mommy Helena will always be your mother, right? She's always watching over you in every drawing you make, in every smile." "We know," Gabriel interrupted softly, "but you're also our mother, from the heart." "Yes," Miguel agreed. "Mommy Helena is in heaven taking care of us, and you're here taking care of us too, and now we have Dad too." Hugo swallowed hard, his emotions running high. "And I promise," he said, kneeling down to the children's level, "that I will spend the rest of my life being the best father you could ever have." "Group hug," Miguel shouted, and everyone joined in a tight hug, right there in the messy kitchen of the new apartment. Anna's phone rang again. It was another message from Sandra, this time with a photo attached. It was the new sign that would be inaugurated that afternoon. Helena Mueller Institute of Family Art Therapy. The center's auditorium was packed for the extraordinary meeting. Families served by the project, staff, volunteers, and even some representatives of the local media settled into the chairs, while Amelie Costa, Hugo, and the twins occupied the front row. Sandra walked onto the stage with a radiant smile, followed by the board members. The audience's buzz died down as she approached the microphone. "A year ago," she began, "we welcomed a young woman and 2 children who would completely transform our view of healing and family. Today, we are not just celebrating the success of a project, we are opening a new chapter in the history of psychosocial care in our city." The lights dimmed and a video began to play. It was a montage of memorable moments from the past year, art therapy sessions, emotional testimonies from families who had been helped, children showing their progress through their drawings. Anna recognized several faces, several stories that had become intertwined with her own. The Helena Muller Institute, Sandra continued after the video, will not just be a service center. It will be a hub for research, training, and development of new techniques in family art therapy. Hugo squeezed Anna's hand gently, while the twins watched everything with wide eyes of admiration. And to lead this new institute, Sandra announced with a smile, we could not have chosen more suitable people. Amelie Costa Müller, who not only continued her sister's dream but expanded it in ways we never imagined possible, will be our Director of Social Projects. And Dr. Hugo Albori, in addition to his duties as Medical Director, will assume the presidency of the Institute. The audience burst into applause. Anna felt tears streaming down her face as Sandra called her to the stage with Hugo. "Mum, can I go too?" Miguel whispered, holding her hand. Anna looked at Sandra, who nodded with a smile. The four of them walked onto the stage together, a family united not just by blood or roles but by a greater purpose. "I want to share something with you," Anna said, her voice steady despite her emotion. "When my sister left, I thought our dream had gone with her, but I was wrong. The dream was just waiting for the right moment to blossom in a new form." Hugo took the floor. "The Institute will be a space where all families can find not only professional help, but also hope and tools for their own reconstruction." Gabriel, normally shy, surprised everyone by taking the microphone. "We wanted to show something." With Miguel's help, he unfurled a large poster they had secretly prepared. It was an elaborate drawing showing the center transformed into a colorful castle, with families of all shapes and sizes streaming through its doors. At the top, in carefully colored letters, was written, "Here everyone can find the family of their hearts." The entire auditorium was moved. Sandra took advantage of the moment to reveal the last surprise. A series of scholarships would be offered to mothers in vulnerable situations who wanted to graduate in psychology or art therapy. "Because we believe," she explained, "that those who have experienced transformation are uniquely equipped to help others transform as well." After the ceremony, as the families gathered for a celebratory cocktail, Anna found a quiet moment with Hugo and the boys in her new office, now decorated with a harmonious mix of diplomas, children's drawings, and Helena's photo. "Do you know what this means?" Miguel asked, still admiring the poster they had made. "What, son?" Hugo replied, the word son sounding more and more natural on his lips. "It means that now other children will be able to have a family like ours," he explained with the unique wisdom of children. Anna hugged her boys, all three of them, feeling that she finally understood what Helena had always said about turning pain into purpose. There, in that moment, she realized that she had not only rebuilt her life, she had created a place where other lives could be rebuilt too. The Institute's studio was particularly busy that morning. Children and adults took turns in front of large paper panels, creating what would be the most special decoration ever seen at a wedding, a collaborative art gallery made by all the families served by the project. Amélie Costa, sitting in a quiet corner with her organization board, watched the action with a smile on her face. It had been the twins' idea to turn the wedding ceremony into a big art therapy project. "Mom!" Gabriel called, running towards her with his hands covered in paint. "Look what we made for the invitation." The drawing showed a stylized representation of her and Hugo, surrounded by colorful circles that intertwined like an infinite embrace. Around them, small figures represented all the families of the Institute. "It's beautiful, my love," she complimented, noting how the boys' features had evolved in recent months. "But tell me, why so many circles?" "Because that's how love works," Miguel explained, joining them. "It grows and grows like circles on water when you throw a pebble." Anna felt her heart melt at the explanation. Children always amazed her with their ability to understand profound truths in such simple ways. "Anna," called Julia, the nursery teacher, approaching with a worried expression, "there's a lady at the reception asking for you. She said she knew Helena." Anna's heart raced. Since the Institute had opened, several people from Helena's past had reappeared, each bringing a different piece of her memories. At reception, he found an elegant, grey-haired lady who immediately seemed familiar. "Donna Berenice?" asked Anna, finally recognizing the old neighbor who used to look after her and Helena when they were little. "Oh dear," The lady opened her arms, tears in her eyes. When I saw the report about the institute, I couldn't believe it. You two, always so close, always drawing and dreaming of a place like this. Anna led her to her office, where the twins soon joined them, curious about the visitor who spoke of their mother with such affection. "I brought you something," Berenice said, pulling an old album out of her bag. "Helena left it with me earlier. Well, she said you'd want to see it someday." The album was filled with children's drawings, the work of Helena and Anna when they were children. On the last pages, there was something special, sketches of what was clearly the center's first project, drawn by Helena when she was still in college. "Look, Mum," Miguel exclaimed, pointing to a specific drawing. "It looks just like the institute." It was true. The drawing showed a building very similar to the one they had built, with spaces dedicated to art and therapy. But what caught Anna's attention the most was a note in the margin of the paper, written in Helena's neat handwriting, "For when Anna is ready." "She always knew," Berenice murmured softly. "She always said you had a special gift for healing hearts through art, just like her." The office door opened, and Hugo walked in, carrying more materials for the wedding preparations. Seeing the emotional scene, he paused for a moment. "Honey, come see this," Anna called, wiping her tears. Donna Berenice brought a treasure. While showing the album to Hugo, Miguel and Gabriel began asking Berenice questions about what her mother was like as a child. The lady, delighted with the boys, shared stories that made everyone laugh and get emotional. "Do you know what this means?" Gabriel said suddenly, looking at the old drawings. "We could use these drawings of Mom Helena in the wedding decoration too." Anna and Hugo exchanged emotional glances. The idea was perfect, a way to have Helena present on their special. "Take her. And there's one more thing," Berenice added, pulling a yellowed envelope from inside the album. "Helena asked me to give you this when you found your way. I think now is the time." Anna took the envelope with trembling hands. Inside was a letter and a drawing. The drawing showed two girls holding hands, with the caption, "Sisters are forever." The letter began with words that made her heart stop. "Dear Anna, if you are reading this, it means that you have finally found your own way to color the world." With trembling hands, Anna unfolded Helena's letter, while everyone in the office waited in respectful silence. Her sister's voice seemed to echo through the written words. "Dear Anna, if you're reading this, it means you've finally found your own way to color the world. You always knew this day would come. You have a special light within you, a unique ability to transform pain into beauty. Remember when we were little, and you cried because your drawings weren't perfect like mine? I tried to explain to you that true art isn't about perfection, but about the ability to touch hearts. You've always had that gift, even if you didn't realize it." As I write this letter, I am looking at the sketches of our dream, the support center we have always imagined together. I know that somehow you will find a way to make it a reality, and when you do, it will be even more beautiful than I could have imagined, because it will have your special touch. I have enclosed with this letter some drawings I have made over the years, moments we have shared, dreams we have cherished. Use them as you wish. They are as much yours as they are mine, just as the center has always been our shared dream. Anna, my brave little sister, I know that life sometimes presents us with challenges that seem too great, but you have a strength within you that is greater than any obstacle. You transform lives just by being who you are, kind, determined, full of love to give. And if you're reading this right now, I imagine you've also found someone special to share your journey with, someone who saw the same spark in you that I always saw, someone who understands that your heart is big enough to love in so many different ways. Take care of the little ones for me. Teach them that art is not just about creating beautiful things. It's about expressing what's in the soul, about healing wounds, about connecting hearts. Show them that family is much more than blood. It's choice, it's love, it's being present. And most of all, Anna, allow yourself to be happy. Allow yourself to love and be loved. Allow yourself to build something new without fear of betraying me. Because you could never betray me. Every life you touch, every heart you heal, every smile you provoke is a way of keeping me alive. I know there will come a time when you will doubt whether you are on the right path. When that time comes, look at the drawings of the children you help. See how they change over time, how the colors become more vivid, how hope returns to their lines. This is your mark on the world, Anna. This is your gift. The center, or institute, as I imagine it must have become, is not just a place. It is a testament to the fact that love can transform any story. It is proof that even in the most difficult moments, there is always the possibility of a new beginning. You, my dear sister, are my greatest pride, not for following in my footsteps, but for having found your own, for having transformed our story into something even more beautiful than we could have dreamed. Keep coloring the world, Anna. Keep spreading love and hope. Keep being that light that illuminates the path of so many people, and know that wherever I am smiling with pride for you. With all my love, Helena. Huss. Always keep that purple paintbrush I gave you for your 15th birthday. It's not just a paintbrush. It's a promise that art always finds a way to heal hearts. When Anna finished reading, there wasn't a dry eye in the office. Hugo hugged her from behind, while the twins snuggled in his lap. Donna Berenice smiled through her tears. The purple brush, Anna murmured, suddenly remembering. She stood up and went to a special box on her shelf, from where she took out an old but well-preserved brush. "That's it," Miguel exclaimed, recognizing the object he had seen in some of Helena's old drawings. "I think," Gabriel said thoughtfully, "that we could use it to sign the wedding guest book. Then everyone who comes will leave a colored mark, just like Aunt Helena used to do." Anna looked at Hugo, who nodded excitedly. "It's perfect," he agreed. "This way, Helena will be present not only in the drawings, but in every signature, in every wish for happiness." At that moment, Sandra knocked on the office door. "Sorry to interrupt, but the children from the project want to show you something special they prepared for the wedding." The group continued to the studio, where dozens of children were anxiously waiting next to a huge covered panel. When they revealed the work, Anna felt her heart stop. It was a collective recreation of all of Helena's most significant drawings, interspersed with new drawings made by the children of the Institute. The Institute's garden had been transformed into an open-air art gallery. Colorful panels created by the families who were helped formed a natural corridor that led to the altar, each telling a different story of overcoming and starting over. The location chosen for the wedding could not have been more meaningful. It was there, after all, that Amélie Costa and Hugo had built not only their careers, but also their family. Martina, helping Anna with the final details of the dress in one of the Institute's rooms, couldn't hold back her tears. "Who would have thought, huh?" She smiled, adjusting the bouquet made of colored paper flowers created by the children of the project. From the bakery's marquee to here. Anna studied her reflection in the mirror. The dress, elegant in its simplicity, had small, hand-painted details, the work of the twins who had insisted on adding their own personal touch to their mother's outfit. Mom," Miguel burst through the door, already dressed in his miniature suit. "You should see what we've prepared." "It wasn't a surprise," Gabriel reprimanded, entering right behind his brother. The boys looked adorable in their pageboy outfits, each carrying a small decorated box they had kept secret for days. "Can I show you now?" Miguel begged, barely containing his excitement. "Please." With Anna's permission, the twins opened their boxes simultaneously. Inside each one was a small painted canvas, in one their first meeting under the marquee, in the other, the moment when Hugo took them to see the center. "Professor." "Julia helped us," Gabriel explained. "It's to put on the altar for everyone to see how our story began." Anna felt tears threaten to ruin her makeup. "You guys are amazing, you know that?" "There's one more thing," Miguel said, taking something out of his pocket. It was Helena's purple paintbrush, now decorated with colorful ribbons. "We thought you could take it with the flowers. Then Mommy Helena will be walking with you too." Martina quickly grabbed a tissue, wiping away her own tears. "These boys are going to make everyone cry today." A soft knock on the door interrupted the moment. It was Sandra, already dressed for the ceremony, carrying a briefcase. "Sorry to interrupt," she smiled, but there's something you need to see before the ceremony begins." Sandra opened the folder, revealing official documents, the final authorization for the expansion of the Institute, which would now be replicated in 5 other cities. The project that Helena had dreamed of was about to become a national support network through art therapy. "Hugo wanted to wait to tell you during the party," Sandra explained, "but I thought you'd want to know first. The first new unit opens in exactly 1 month." Anna hugged the documents to her chest, feeling as if Helena was smiling down from somewhere. Her legacy was not only still alive, it was growing, blossoming, touching more and more lives. "Mom," Gabriel called softly, "it's time. Daddy is already waiting." Music began to play in the garden, not the traditional wedding march, but a special composition created by students of the Institute's music therapy project. The soft notes mingled with the chatter of the guests, creating a unique atmosphere of celebration. Before leaving the room, Anna paused one last time in front of the mirror. With the bouquet in one hand and Helena's purple brush in the other, she saw reflected not only her own image, but the entire journey that had brought her there. The nights under the marquee, the boy's first hopeful smile, the art therapy sessions, the moments with Hugo, the lives transformed at the Institute. "Do you think," she asked her children, "that Mama Helena would be proud?" Miguel and Gabriel exchanged knowing looks before responding in unison. "She's already here." And so, with a child on either side, and the purple paintbrush as a tangible connection to her sister, Amélie Costa, prepared to take the next step in her journey of color and new beginnings. Outside through the window, she could see the garden filled with people whose lives had been touched by the Institute, her extended family, united not by blood, but by love and art. The moment when Amélie Costa appeared at the beginning of Sauskai, the corridor of artistic panels, flanked by the twins, would forever be etched in the memory of everyone present. Hugo, waiting at the improvised altar under a pergola covered in colorful flowers, felt his heart stop for a moment. The ceremony had been planned to reflect the essence of the Institute: art, family, and renewal. Every detail carried meaning, from the chairs decorated with children's drawings to the guestbook that would be signed with Helena's purple brush. "Welcome to this celebration of love and new beginnings," began the celebrant, a former professor of Anna's from the School of Psychology. "We are here not only to unite two people, but to celebrate the transformative power of love in all its forms." Miguel and Gabriel remained by Anna and Hugo's side throughout the ceremony, a decision that reflected the true nature of that union. It was not just a wedding, but the officialization of a family that already existed in their hearts. Before the traditional vows, the celebrant continued, the children of the Institute prepared something special. A group of young artists approached, each carrying a canvas. One by one, they were positioned to form a mosaic that portrayed the journey of Anna, Hugo, and the twins, from their first meeting to this moment. Dad, Miguel began, surprising everyone by taking the microphone. "We also wrote some vows." Gabriel joined his brother, holding a colored paper. "I promise to be a good son and make less mess in the studio. I promise to always tell the truth," Miguel continued, "even when I accidentally break something. And we promise," they said together, "to love you both forever, just as you love us." There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. Hugo knelt down to hug the boys while Anna tried to hold back the tears that threatened to smudge her makeup. When it was time for the bride and groom's vows, Hugo was the first. "Amélie Costa, you taught me that sometimes we need to lose ourselves completely to find our true path. When Helena helped me years ago, she planted a seed of hope. But it was you who made that seed blossom into something much greater than either of us could have imagined. I promise to continue cultivating this garden of love, art, and hope by your side, being not only your husband, but your partner in all dreams and challenges." Anna, holding the purple brush along with the bouquet, took a deep breath before beginning her vows. "Hugo, you found me at my most vulnerable moment and saw not a person in need of help, but someone capable of helping others. Together, with the boys, you showed me that family is much more than blood ties. It is choice, it is presence, it is love that is renewed every day. I promise to continue coloring our story with the most vibrant colors of love, dedication, and hope. The celebrant smiled, preparing for the conclusion. Before I pronounce you married, there is one last surprise. Sandra approached with a large gold envelope. Inside was the official document transforming the Helena Muller Institute into a National Art Therapy Foundation, with Amélie Costa and Hugo as lifelong directors. Helena's dream, Sandra said, into the microphone, will not only continue to live on through you, but will multiply, touching lives across the country. The ceremony concluded with a symbolic gesture. Using Helena's purple paintbrush, the couple and the boys painted one final piece of the mural together, a multicolored heart that represented their unique family. During the party that followed, as the families served by the Institute mingled with professionals and guests in a truly inclusive celebration, Anna watched her new husband dancing with the boys. Miguel and Gabriel laughed as they tried to teach dance steps to Hugo, who pretended he couldn't keep up. Martina approached, handing her friend a glass of juice. You know what's most beautiful? Seeing how each person here has a story of transformation to tell. And they all started that night under the marquee. Anna smiled, touching the purple paintbrush that was now stuck in her bouquet. Helena always said that the greatest transformations begin in the most unlikely moments. At that moment, all the children present were called to a special activity. Each one received a colorful balloon with a small message inside. At Julia's command, all the balloons were released simultaneously, creating a spectacle of colors against the sunset sky. Look, Mum, Gabriel shouted, running to Anna with Miguel. It's just like your eyes when you smile, full of colors. Anna hugged her children, feeling Hugo join her in the embrace. There, surrounded by her family and all the lives they had helped transform, she finally understood. Her happy ending was not a point of arrival, but a new beginning. A beginning colored by art, by love, and by the certainty that somewhere, Helena smiled proudly. 2 years had passed since the wedding. The Helena Muller Institute now occupied a prominent place on the national scene, with branches operating in several states. On a sunny spring morning, Amélie Costa watched from her office window as a group of children painted in the garden. Director? Called her new assistant, Luisa, one of the first mothers to be helped by the project, who was now in her 2nd year of psychology. The UNESCO representatives have just arrived for the meeting. Anna smiled, arranging the photo frames on her desk. One of the twins, now 7, in their first theater performance at school, another of the wedding with the whole family together, and a special one, recently framed, showing the first class of art therapists trained by the Institute. Mum, Miguel ran into the office, followed by Gabriel. Teacher Julia let us show our special project to the visitors. The boys had developed, with the help of other students at the Institute, an art therapy program specifically aimed at children. Colors of Tomorrow, as they called it, was already being implemented in public schools in the region. Of course you can show it, Anna replied, proud of how her children had inherited not only Helena's artistic talent, but also her vocation, to help others. Hugo appeared at the door, impeccable in his suit, but with a small stain of colored paint on his sleeve, a trademark of someone who spent time with the children at the Institute. The representatives are impressed with the results of the program, he said, leaning in to give Anna a quick kiss, especially with the emotional recovery rates of the families served. In the meeting room, transformed into a temporary gallery, panels showed the evolution of the Institute, photos from the first day, when it was just a small project, to the present, with its multiple units and innovative programs. As you can see, Anna explained to international visitors, our approach integrates family art therapy with psychological counseling and social reintegration. Every family that comes here not only receives help, but becomes part of a network of mutual support. Miguel and Gabriel, taking on the role of little guides, led the group to their special project. On a big screen, images showed children in different schools participating in the Colors of Tomorrow program. We teach that you don't need to know how to draw beautifully, Gabriel explained with the wisdom of his 7 years. You just need to put on paper what you're feeling. And when we do this together, Miguel added, it becomes easier to understand other people's feelings too. The UNESCO representatives exchanged impressed glances. One of them, a bespectacled lady who had remained silent until then, raised her hand. Mrs. Muller, what inspired you to develop such a unique approach? Anna picked up the purple paintbrush, which now occupied a place of honor in a glass case, in her office, and showed it to the group. This brush belonged to my sister, Helena, she began, her voice soft but firm. She was the first to understand that art is not just a form of expression, but a universal language of healing. As Paul. She told the story of the Institute. From its beginnings to the present, Anna watched the attentive faces of her children. They already knew every detail of that story, but they always heard it as if it were the first time. The true success of the Institute, she concluded, is not in the numbers or recognition, but in the stories of transformation that we witness daily. At that moment, a small commotion in the garden caught the group's attention. Through the window, they could see one of the children who had recently joined the program having his first major achievement. After weeks of silence, he was finally expressing himself through a vibrant and lively drawing. See? Miguel whispered to one of the visitors. That's how the magic happens. Hugo approached Anna, discreetly intertwining their fingers. Together, they watched as their children effortlessly explained the principles of art therapy using language that blended childlike innocence with a surprisingly deep understanding of the work being done. Helena would be so proud, he murmured. She is, Anna replied, smiling as Gabriel showed visitors the special mural where the first drawings of each family served by the Institute were kept. In each smile regained, in each color chosen, in each story transformed. The sun was setting over the Institute's garden, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange that seemed to have come straight out of a child's drawing. It was the closing of the annual art therapy event, which that year coincided with the 10th anniversary of Helena's passing. Amélie Costa, her hair now slightly grey at the temples, gazed at the giant mural that dominated the main wall of the new auditorium. It was a collaborative collage, bringing together 10 years of stories transformed through art. Mom, Miguel called, now a 13-year-old teenager, but with the same sweet sparkle in his eyes. We wanted to show you something before the closing ceremony. He and Gabriel, inseparable as always, led Anna to a special room that had been kept closed throughout the event. Hugo was already waiting for them there, along with Martina, Sandra, and other old members of the team. Surprise! Everyone exclaimed when the lights came on. The room had been transformed into an intimate gallery, telling the complete story of the Institute through photographs, drawings, and newspaper clippings. But what really captured Anna's attention was a huge canvas in the center of the room. We worked on it for months, Gabriel explained, his voice choked with emotion. Every student who has ever come through the Institute has contributed a little bit. The canvas showed a majestic tree, its roots formed by the first drawings made at the center, the trunk constructed with photos and clippings documenting its evolution, and the branches opening up into thousands of small works of art, each one representing a life touched by the project. But the most special thing, Miguel said, guiding his mother closer, is here. In the heart of the tree, delicately preserved, was Helena's original design for the center, the one Anna had found among her old notes. Around it, like a protective embrace, were the twins' first drawings, the wedding sketches, and hundreds of little moments that had made up their story. Do you remember, Hugo began, his voice soft, what Helena wrote in that letter about how true art lies not in perfection, but in the ability to touch hearts? Anna nodded, unable to hold back her tears. Well, he continued, we decided to do something special to celebrate that legacy. Sandra stepped forward, revealing an official document. The Ministry of Education had approved the creation of the country's first art therapy college, which would be based at the Helena Muller Institute. And there's more, Martina added, handing over a recently published book, The Art of Rebuilding Lives, the Helena Muller Methodology of Family Art Therapy. The book brings together all our experience over the years, Sandra explained. It will help train new professionals across the country. Anna leafed through the book with trembling hands, recognizing in the pages not only methodologies and techniques but real stories of transformation, including her own. But the biggest surprise, Gabriel said with a smile, is out there. In the garden, hundreds of people waited, families who had passed through the institute over the years, each carrying a colorful lantern. At the twins' command, all the lanterns were lit simultaneously, creating a spectacle of light and color under the dusk sky. Each light represents a transformed story, Miguel explained into the microphone. Each color represents a new beginning. Amélie Costa observed that sea of lights, feeling the soft weight of the purple brush she still carried on special occasions. Hugo hugged her from behind, while the twins positioned themselves on either side. "Do you know what's most incredible?" Gabriel said softly. "That it all started with a drawing, a dream on paper that Mommy Helena left for you to continue." "And you didn't just continue," Miguel added. "You made it grow, flourish, spread." At that moment, as if the sky itself wanted to join in the celebration, a gentle breeze scattered flower petals across the garden, dancing among the colorful lights of the lanterns. "Helena was right," Anna murmured, hugging her family. "Art really does have the power to rebuild lives. But love has the power to create new stories." And there, under a sky painted with stars and surrounded by hundreds of transformed lives, Amélie Costa finally understood. Her story had never been just about overcoming loss or finding a new path. It was about how love, in its infinite shapes and colors, has the power to transform endings into new beginnings, pain into purpose, and dreams into reality.